I know many of us are struggling to crack the interview. You go any interview, interviewer will ask cross questions, scenario based questions. So here I have finalized 30 real world scenario based questions on core Java. We'll discuss Java stream, Java string, multi-threading, garbage collector, design patterns. So all related questions I am going to explain. I am sure that this video is going to be very useful whether you are a fresher or experienced. The questions I will discuss along with the answers, really it will be useful at the time of attending the interview, and you can also get benefit whenever in real world, in real project you will work. So explaining all 30 questions in one session, it will be lengthy. One by one I will upload multiple sessions. So let's discuss. It will be a series of sessions. In each session I am going to cover 5 to 6 questions. Let's see. So the first question is, your application throws out of memory error due to string. Why does this happen? You know, string is immutable. Whenever you are writing code by using string, if you will not aware of it, where to use, when to use, when not to use, so we will end with out of memory error. As you know, string is immutable. If I am giving one example here, suppose what happened, there is a list called logs, and in this list he is adding message, so error message. So this logs list will be keep on increasing, and if you add each message, you know, as it is not mutable, it is adding means it will be create a new object. Each time you adding a new message means it will create a new object, and you defined here it is static. It is also a blunder. So as you define it is static, so this list keep on increasing, so you will ended with out of memory error. Your memory will be full up. So what you need to do, you need to write the proper code. So instead of using string, you should use StringBuffer, and you should not use static. So this kind of things you need to be aware of it. Now let's move to next questions. So how you will optimize this type of things? So here once again he did like this. He created a string variable empty, then he iterated one orders, list of orders. He iterated order one by one, and what he is doing, he is trying to append it, the order id with amount. You see this string object, each append it will create a new object. So and it will be keep on increasing as our orders. If the orders list will be more, so it will be keep on increasing. This is also a memory leak issues or out of memory issues. So what you will do, instead of using string, you will use StringBuilder. So in StringBuilder you will use append method, and each whenever you will add order id or amount, it will not create a new object, rather it will keep on append. So StringBuilder will be faster, and multiple threads it can use at a time as it is StringBuilder. So this is the right way, but we wanted to do in a string, so we have converted to string. So this way we can optimize. Now next questions. How do you handle exceptions in REST APIs in real world applications? That means in your Spring Boot applications, how you are handling the exception. So suppose this is a GET mapping, this is a GET API. You are getting the users by passing the ID. So this is a GET user, this is a GET call, GET API. So if the user does not exist, so don't try to write this code like handling by applying try catch, and you are trying to handle the exceptions here. So this way if you write, it is wrong, because we are having multiple APIs. So multiple controller, multiple APIs. So each API label if you write here, boilerplate code will be more. And you wanted to return some user defined error code, user defined message. That is also difficult here. So don't do this. So instead of what you will do, you will create a global exceptions by using @REST controller advice. You can create a global exceptions, and you can create a user defined exception, and that you will make use of it. Global handler. Okay, this is another controller. And instead of throwing the error instead of the catching the error in the controller layer, you will catch the error in service layer. So in service layer you will catch, so that in each get call or put call in controller layer you no need to write. So you can handle like this, and you can pass your user defined message and user defined error code. So you should use your exceptions in this way in case of REST API or Spring Boot applications. Okay, so now let's move to next questions. How do you log exceptions without losing the root cause? That means if any exception happen, you wanted to print the log. So here exception happened. So what you are doing, you are saying e.get message. It will not provide the full root cause of the message. So this is wrong way of declarations. So what you need to do, you need to print the whole object, and at the time of printing you can give order processing failed, some message which user can understand, a understandable message you can give, and whole object you want to print. So this is the correct way of printing the log root cause. Okay, now next question is, how would you design a thread shape in memory cache? That means here you need to understand why you need in memory cache. In your applications you need some frequent data will be used some customer. So suppose for example in your application many customers hitting some frequent data, hitting a APIs which is giving the frequent data. That means a common data are there, and multiple customer trying to get that data. Instead of each time it will fetch the data from the DB. So that data, if it is common and frequently used, it will be placed in cache memory. So if same call will come, instead of fetching the data from the DB, it will fetch from the cache. So you think that if multiple customer accessing different data, and that will be first time it will store in cache, and that cache will be more, right? One day the cache will be full. You see here what happened, what we are doing, we created a cache map, and we are checking if the ID it is not there in the cache, compute if absent, if it not there in the cache, we are checking, then we are loading from the DB. That means first time whenever a user detail we are fetching by using the ID, if that ID user detail, that particular ID detail is not there in the cache, you are loading. So whenever in multi-threaded environment or in high peak time, whenever many users are loading to the cache, at some point of time that cache will be overflow, right? The memory will be overflow out of memory. So you need to whenever you will create this cache, you need to handle it properly. What you need to do, you need to define some size. So here I defined the cache size is 1000. So if the cache size is reaching to this 1000 or more than 1000, then we are clearing it. So this way you will write, and what will happen, whenever the cache size will be more, it will be clear and the new data will be load. In this way we can manage. So the question is, how you can define your cache is thread shape and managed way. So that this is the way actually. Okay, So this is the way you can define your cache is thread shape and proper design. You are removing in threshold, in a particular threshold. Now let's move to next questions. Why does concurrent HashMap not allow null keys or values? So in HashMap we can have a null key, only one null key. Values, we can have multiple values in HashMap, but in concurrent HashMap we cannot put a null key and a null values as well because of ambiguity. You see, if a is a key and the value we define null, so key will be a, value will be null. So whenever we will say map.get of a, that means it is returning null. So how we will confirm that a itself, it is not there in the map, that's what it is null, that key, due to key is not there, it is returning null, or the value itself null. So this ambiguity will happen. So for that, in concurrent HashMap they have not allowed null key and null values, but in HashMap we can have null key once and values as many times you want you can have, but null key will be once. Why? Because in HashMap we are maintaining that hash table, in that the 0th table by default it is null. So for that case they are allowed, but in concurrent HashMap they are not allowed because of ambiguity. Got it? Now let's move to next questions. Sorting millions of objects. Whenever we are sorting millions of objects, we'll use comparable or comparator. If we'll use comparator, why? We'll use comparator instead of comparable, because you see, in reality, one example, we are having some list of orders, order object, millions of order object, and we wanted to sort based on amount or based on creation times. So like this multiple sort we wanted to do. So if we use comparable, so what we need to do? We need to implement this comparable interface in the order class, and we need to override the compare method or compare two methods. But if we use comparator, what you will do? We can use by using, means we are not depending on the order class. So order class will not change. So out of order class we can apply this logic, comparator.comparing, this stream API code. So we can do by using, so comparator is the best choice. Whenever millions of objects we wanted to compare, we wanted to sort, so we will use comparator instead of comparable. If we use comparator, we should lose completely. We are not dependent on order class. So comparator is the best choice. Let's move to next questions. How do you avoid concurrent modification exceptions? So why we are getting this concurrent modification exceptions? So whenever we are iterating a list of users, so that times at the time of iterating, if you are removing, then you will get concurrent modification exceptions. So at the time of I am accessing this PPT page by page, if someone else will remove one page without knowing me, then I will be impacted. But if I will remove myself, then I will not impact. So it is expected. So here what happened, here users is a list, and it is iterating one by one, and each user it is checking if it is active or not active. It is not active. If it is not active, then remove it. So in a user list we are iterating, at the time of iterating we are trying to remove. So here you will get concurrent modification exceptions. So how to resolve? We are having two ways. Either you will use iterator or you will use concurrent collections. So iterator means you will create a iterator object, and that iterator object IT dot remove. It's possible, it's a correct code by using iterator. And if you are using concurrent collections, you see here users we placed in a copy on write array list. It's a concurrent collections. So if you are using, we can remove, no problem. So this is not a original, it is copy on array list, so it is working in a copy, so you can remove it. So two ways we can remove, but if you remove on list at the time of iterating, you will get concurrent modification exceptions. Okay, when would you choose Treemap over HashMap in real system? You know, Treemap means sorted and it is order. HashMap means it is based on hashing. It is not sorted or not order. But this HashMap will be too fast. Whenever we wanted to access element, then we will use, in faster way, we will use HashMap. But whenever we need sorting order, so that times you will use Treemap. Okay, order matters here. Oh, HashMap means speed matters. It's simple only, you can say. So here you see the example. Here customer account ID and customer details. So here we are having millions of customer. If you want a particular customer, any customer, if you want the datas, so here the speed is matters. I want that information as soon as possible, but it cannot be. I don't want a customer list will see, it will show me in orders, or the data will be stored in orders. There the speed is matters. Okay, but here we'll take bank needs to generate an account statement stored by transaction date. So account statement if will take, so that statement we wanted to see in chronological order or sequence order. That times you will take a Treemap. So the transactions, so the date and time and the transaction detail. So this is the real use of Treemap. So whenever this kind of use will come, you will take HashMap. So HashMap means no order or sorting, but we can access faster. We'll provide the key, we'll get the values. Okay, and there we are having the HashMap, how it is internally working. I will explain you in next few questions. I will explain. So there we stored the elements in such a way that we can fetch in very fast way. Okay, I will show you that. Now I will tell you one more thing. Streams versus loops. Which one is better and why? You see here we are having a list, a user list, and what we are doing from that user list, we are trying to get the active users. So to get the active users, what we did, in that users list we converted to streams, then we apply a filter. If the user is active, then add that list into collectors. Then this is the code by using Stream API among the users. If we wanted to filter all active users, by this way we can write. So this is good way and better way, or same things we can write by using for loop also. You see, in that users list we iterated one by one, and we are checking each user is active. If it is active, we are adding the active users list. This is also code. So same things we are doing. For loop doing same things, streams also doing same things. So which one is better, this one or this one? So remember, stream is more costly. Stream will take more times. So whenever we want performance wise more, so we'll use loops, because stream is more burden. It will be streaming, then filter, multiple operations is happening. Whenever the records will be more, or the items will be more, data will be more, that time stream will be little bit slow than loops. So stream is not better, but in case of stream, it is readability very good, and it is very concise and very smooth to see, and readability is very good actually. But in loops, it is, whenever we are having larger volume of data, that times it will be more faster. So stream is cleaner or more readable and declarative. But loops, it is more faster, better performance. Okay, so in between streams and loops, you choose wisely. Both are important. Where you want to use, then you choose it. When should you not use parallel stream? When you should not use parallel stream. So whenever some task is dependent, it is not independent. So if any dependency are there, you cannot use parallel stream. Suppose 5 nodes are there and we asked 5 people to write in that nodes. Individually they can write, 1 people 1 nodes. Otherwise 2 people can write 5 nodes. So 2 people at a time can work to writing the 5 nodes. But if one notebook is there and I wanted to write by 5 people, so how it is possible? Multiple people cannot write randomly in multiple pages, right? It is not possible, right? So always you see the work is independent. Or one more example I will tell you. Here what happened? Here there is a list of integers and we wanted to add each element. If we'll use by using parallel stream, what will happen? We will get wrong result because multiple threads wanted to add. So one item will add 2 times also. So here you will get wrong result. So adding up all elements of that list, it is a independent in one task. So it cannot be handled by multiple threads like parallel stream. It's not a good idea. Okay, so where we can use this parallel stream? So whenever many threads working together, this is good only when each task is heavy and independent. So if we are having 2 tasks, one task is adding, another task is multiplying of each element. So in that case parallel stream is there. But here one task and you wanted to apply parallel stream, so you will get wrong results. So you got it? Yeah. So next questions. How do streams impact performance with large data sets? So whenever we are having large data sets, so streams performance will be impacted. I told you, whenever we are having around millions of records, that times we should use for loops instead of streams, because for loops will be faster, because in streams we are having overhead due to lambda calls and object creations, add overhead. So if more data is there, you wisely you use not streams, you use for loops. Your application is slow under high load. How would virtual threads help? So you know, virtual thread is very lightweight. It is not like normal thread. Whenever means we can create thousands of or millions of virtual threads. So whenever any DB calls or API calls we are waiting for it, so virtual thread will be cheap and not expensive. Okay, so you can create thousands or millions of virtual threads. Okay, so when many users hit your application at the same times, normal threads are heavy and limited. If threads are busy waiting for DB or API responses, the apps become slow. It is expected if we are using thread. But if you are using virtual thread, it is very lightweight. You can create thousands or millions of them. Waiting or blocking is very cheap, not expensive in case of virtual thread. So virtual thread is a concept they have introduced in Java 21. So you should know about it. It's very good concept. Okay. Another questions. You see inconsistent data in multi-threaded code. How do you debug it? That means in a multi-threaded code, some common code is there, some code shared code is there. So multiple threads trying to access. So how, if any inconsistent data is there, some duplicate transactions happen, or data is not correct at the time of multiple threads accessing this data. So how you will debug? So what you will do, you will check whether the lock applied successfully, like synchronization or volatile applied successfully or not. Is there any race conditions? Okay. So you will try to, whatever issues you are getting, you try to reproduce in the lower environment. If same issues you are able to reproduce, then with the same data, with the same environment, you will try to replicate the issues in the lower environment. If you are getting that, then you will find the root cause by checking the thread DOMs or by checking the logs. So whether they have applied the thread safety or not, like synchronizations or not. So the root cause how you will find, by checking the logs. Sometimes logs also missing. So what you will do, you will check that thread DOMs and code. You will find out what is the root cause. If logs are missing, you need to put manually at the time of fixing. Okay. So like this you will debug and fix the issues. If any race conditions, you need to fix it by locking proper lock. Okay. Explain a deadlock scenario you encountered and how you fixed it. So what is deadlock scenarios? We'll see in next session.